Zack Lavine scores 41 points on the Knicks in double overtime, with the Bulls winning 116 and the Knicks 115. He was on fire. Literally, he was on fire. Just amazing how he was just on game today. He's been like that this whole year. Hopefully the Bulls can get back done as well as marketing. If they get them back and they gel as a team, they might make it in the 7th or 8th seed for the playoffs for the beginning of next year. Hopefully that'll be good. I like to see the Bulls back in the playoffs. They'll probably get knocked off in the first round, but it'll be pretty good. You know, I think Lavine is really good. He's a very good player in offense. He needs to fix some defense, obviously, but he's a pretty good player. You know, I like Markkanen. Markkanen's good. It kind of reminds me of Tony Kukoc. You know, you have Dunn, who's a good defensive player. Hopefully the Bulls can get it around. That'd be great. I'm a big Bulls fan from Chicago. I was lucky enough to see Jordan win 6 championships there when I was a teenager. As well, you know, you add Pippen and Rodman and Phil Jackson. And Chicago was going nuts then. But I'll tell you one thing, Chicago go nuts. I saw them go nuts when they won the World Series with the White Sox and Cubs, as well as 3 times when the Blackhawks won. Chicago will go nuts when the Bears will win a Super Bowl. With Mitch Trubisky, he's pretty good. You know, I mean, granted, he's not the perfect quarterback. He did throw an interception against the Bills, but that Bears D, without Mac, scored 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble, as well as a fumble recovery. It's just amazing how good the Bears defense is. As well as Trubisky. I think give some time. We're kind of hard on him as fans. He'll do good. I like his presence when he feels being pressured. He runs and gains 6, 10, 12, 14, sometimes 20, 30 yards on a rush. You know, I like the connection he has with Allen Robinson and with Gabriel, as well as with Burton and Tariq Cohen. You know, I guess you can count Howard. Howard got really good now with his catching ability. If they just somehow involve Kevin White in there, and believe it or not, I think he could be pretty good. I'm not saying Pro Bowler Kevin White, but decent enough to get a couple of touchdowns and maybe 30, 40 catches at the end of this year. It's a possibility if the Bears make it in the not a Super Bowl, in the playoffs. I'm a little bit ahead of that Super Bowl. But with Khalil Mack, the defense is pretty good. What they do need to improve on is with Floyd rushing and sacking the quarterback. I mean, I know granted has not sacked a quarterback of this year, but he did have that pick 6. I thought he did pretty good at it. He had a decent game against the Bills. Who I like a lot is the new rookie, Rakeem Smith, his middle linebacker. He's a very good linebacker. Living here in the South in Florida, I saw him play a lot of the Georgia games last year, as well as I was lucky enough to see Trubisky play his junior year 2 years ago. I saw him beat the Seminoles and a couple other games he just took over. Give a couple years and Trubisky will be a Pro Bowler if he continues this way. And people need to just get off his back. Personally, I like Trubisky. I like where they drafted him. If you believe in a player, you're going to trade even that one spot up to get him. And that's what Ryan Pace believed in. He believed in Trubisky. And he believed in his possibility, his throwing accuracy, which hasn't been the best. I think Trubisky has an average is about 66% for this year. And QB rating has been pretty good. It's been around 100 plus. He just needs to cut off throwing those silly interceptions like that one he had against the Bills. He threw it to nobody. No Bears receiver was there. I believe Burton was probably timed it wrong, and there's some kind of timing. Trubisky thought Burton was there. Personally, that's my opinion. But I think the Bills is a terrible team. Peterman's horrible. He should be benched. I won't be surprised if they're going to fire the coach there up there in Buffalo. Regards with the Bears and the Lions, that's a kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I really think the Bears will win this game this Sunday coming up against the Lions. And then after that, it's next Sunday night football against the Vikings at home. I think they'll win that one, and I think they'll win the Turkey Bowl game on Thanksgiving at 11 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 Thursdays from now. I think the Bears will win 3 games in a row. Don't bet on it, but, you know, personally, I think the Bears will win. That's just my bet. And I see the Bears winning the division if they pass the Lions twice and beat the Vikings once and split with them and beat the Packers at home. If they do that and maybe steal a game against LA or whoever their other tough opponents are, and I know they'll probably beat San Francisco and New York Giants, which are 2 terrible teams. But then, you know, it's every given Sunday, so you don't know. But anyways, that's what I think. That's my opinion. The Blackhawks need some new players. They need to trade up. Crawford is a shell of himself. Cubs, they were kind of smart on giving Joe Madden, not giving him an extension. White Sox, I could see them being like the Cubs were a couple years ago. But anyways, that's my Chicago sports beat on my first video doing Chicago sports. In my personal opinion, I've been a Chicago sports fan since I was a kid, growing up with Jim McMahon and Glenn Kozlowski and Waddle and Singletary, and been lucky enough to meet all those players, including I even had an opportunity to meet Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson and Bill Cartwright, who used to throw the ball like this. If you remember, his free throws were like that. They were kind of horrible. But anyways, this is my first Chicago sports video. Hit that subscribe button and bear down. See ya.